So, hi, I'm Maria. I've been intuitively reading tarot and other kind of divination practices since 2016, and I've had a very shamanic style of mentor. So, what I'm sharing to you is what has been helpful for me and has been helpful for my students. And everybody's so colorful and like multifaceted. So, I want you to really take what is helpful for you and really lean hard into what really works. Like, I want you to really just sit into what really calls for you and really listen to yourself as a true authority of how to go about this. So I'm giving you like a source margord, what do you call that? Like a tasting palette of how to go about this. And then I really want you to lean into it. Okay, first of all, get a deck that really calls to you. So I feel like for people who are stuck in their practices, maybe you've changed in terms of like energies of decks. So before, I would really love these sampler decks that have a lot of mythical and magical images, and I was in the path of my healing process that was very like upper chakra stuff. And then now I primarily work with this so above, so below, and this third eye Brits deck. And they're very mundane. They're very everyday and very simple mundane cards. And this just shows how like my energy signature has just changed. And you have to be very okay with like shifting. So I feel like some people approach their tarot hobby like a big collection, okay, and then no judgment, you could really enjoy that. But the thing is, if it's really your spiritual practice, once you attune to really where you are in spirit and how you are with spirit, what you're really good at. So some people gravitate towards a lot of earth energies, or some people love a lot of like watery relational decks. Once you figure out, you become more self-aware, you know yourself, the amount of decks that you'd actually be interested in would dwindle. It would just naturally focus. So I know that some people can be overeager and just want to explore, but the thing is, the real knowing, like deep capital K knowing, is a deep relationship to yourself and to spirit. And the deeper you have that, the deeper you go there, the more expansive everything is. It's actually not the amount of cards or the amount of books you read. It's that relating to spirit and the divine that actually unlocks what kind of readings and how you evolve through your readings goes. Another thing to think about is that when you have clients or when you read for friends, a lot of the blocks, right? Or like things you don't want to say out loud, or things that you actually do want to say. So it's either negative charge or positive charge, are things you need to either learn or want to hear for yourself. So the universe loves efficiency. So when they channel like a message for a client or someone you're reading for, it's usually something you need to hear for yourself. So I find that the more that I intend to explore certain themes and to imbibe more healing for bigger people, the readings that I do kind of match those themes. So especially for folk who are like starting out and they're like cringing maybe at some of the messages, it's like, oh my god, this is too sappy, or oh, I can't believe that all my clients are just talking about money. Or it's like a lot of tensions in terms of like, for example, exes. I really need you to own up to that, because the more that you recognize that the universe is holographic and that it's like a mirror, you know, in terms of who you're talking to, yeah, and then you're talking also to yourself, right? The more that you could actually lean hard into these, you know, when these messages from the tarot are like energetically charged, both the positive and the negative. The more that you kind of have like a like an ick, or like a bit of distress in terms of the message, like, oh my god, I need to kind of release a lot of judgment for me to actually read it this way, that's actually good. That actually means that you're unraveling karma, and that you're kind of like, you're purifying your ego, because you're like kind of rubbing it the wrong way. You're kind of, oh my god, it's getting like a salt scrub. Or, you know, those metals that have like a lot of rust on them and you kind of need to scrub it a lot. So it's kind of like that. So the more that you're willing to go about that, the more powerful and accurate your readings are going to be, because you're actually specific to, you're willing to hear the themes that are emergent in your life, and to the point that you can also consciously choose them. You will also be more specific and accurate when sharing them with other people. Also, you'll land better as a reader, because you'll be relatable in a sense that these themes are important to you. So people actually believe you when you have stuff to say about those themes. Now, if you're like a kind of new to this, like channeling for other people kind of thing, here's some tips. So my favorite is that I'm channeling for the highest and best for everybody involved. And if I don't need to know, I don't want to know. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of like very empaths and psychic folks might pick up a lot of information that you, like, for example, oh, I don't need to know that they cheated, for example, to guide them properly. Sometimes my judgment's just gonna fuck that up, right? And it's just gonna block me from saying what is the highest and best for that perspective. So the thing is that it's not that, how do I say this? It's not that you don't want to participate in that information. It's just that you have enough grace and surrender to not need to know all the details of the situation. So even when information is downloaded in my brain, it's also nice to double check of like, should I say that out loud? Because sometimes spirit downloads like information for you just so that you can contextualize what you're saying. It's not necessarily for someone to hear. So especially if you're like doing readings where it's like a checkup of a group or for a relationship, always ask like spirit, their guides, if you're into guides, if it's permitted, if you're not like messing with anyone's free will to like know this information. Really devote and surrender yourself in the start of the reading to be like, okay, I want to be in service to the all, so only allow what is permitted, right? And in this way, this kind of bedrock of respect will really, how do I say this? It's like, for example, you're untangling like a relationship issue. When you have respect for like all the parties involved, the spirit guides and the higher self of anyone involved in the situation would be more keen on working with you, because you actually really honor and respect the humans that they're guiding, right? So this baseline is going to help you weave the intricacies of any, if you get some really tense readings, if people really bring up and excavate some hard like trauma and like sensitive stuff. Now, so that's like one way to get better in terms of like the harder readings and such. Number 2, 3 of like how to get better at readings is, especially for reading for other people, do connect beforehand to their higher self and guides and do a bit of a check-in. I like knocking on something solid and just saying hi and being like, hi, I'm okay, I'm working with like one of your incarnations, please help me with going about this. And then sometimes they show a picture or a message or just a mood in terms of what will help me key into the practice. So sometimes some readers, some channelers, before an event, they would get this big energetic download on their body to prep them for the channeling that they're going to do during the sessions, during the retreats, or whatever. So that's the thing. That's the thing with spirit. You kind of need to ask. You kind of need to say it out loud. Okay, maybe not out loud. You can say it internally, but you know what I mean. You need to speak it. And if you really address the divine self of that client, of that group, more of their divinity would flow through you as you are assisting them in their healing practice. The thing is, they're the ones always healing themselves. You witnessing and seeing that and being able to reflect that is actually what helps them and equips them to like their life. Yeah. I think one of my last and probably most important note in terms of like how to get better at reading is I feel like a lot of seekers can be information junkies. You know, I mean, because it's really interesting with the information age and such. There's like a lot of esoteric books, spiritual books, texts that are available, teachers that are available that you could pay online and that they could mentor you and such. And always know that they are fingers pointing to the moon. You know, and you can't be obsessed at the finger. You need to be looking at the moon. And the thing is, I've had students who are called to not even use tarot cards. You know what I mean? Like they're called to use crayons, or they're called to only use Rider-Waite, even if I'm someone who's not super into the traditional Rider-Waite. So there's this thing about you need to be very open and very fluid in terms of like how divinity occurs to other people and especially to yourself, right? So there's that tale of when you meet the Buddha, kill him. And I think what that treatise really says is that yes, you will meet your old teachers, but when you are walking towards mastery and self-knowing, there is a point where you need to remove the guide rails. You need to, you know, those little bicycle wheels, like training wheels, there you go. You need to take them off. And that's what they mean by you need to kill the Buddha, right? There's a point where it's like you need to pry your hands off of your guidebook. Right? There are meanings, definitions, messages that are beyond the images downloaded in the available tarot images that you can buy right now. Sometimes the visions are like more beautiful than the ones that they have like in physical cards right now. And even, you know, God and the divine cannot be encased by even the most beautiful of art and words and like teaching methods. There's the ineffable, there's the mystery of it. So I know that we could be used to like the school format, you know, where it's very factory style of, okay, I need to know these things and then I need to be able to memorize the wands, kings, queens, traditional, non-traditional, stuff like that. But here's the thing, spirit is experience, spirit is knowing, spirit is you, okay? So this internal exploration of your spiritual development is so key and so important in terms of really exploring the unique voice of the divine through you. So, for example, you are teaching. So I was a dancer before, so this is like a potent metaphor for me. So if you were a dance artist and the only thing you did was like teach choreography and to teach people how to think like me, I'm going to train a bunch of artists who are going to think and dance like me, right? I didn't actually connect them to their creative fire and to their source of invention, their source of like expression, their source of meaning in terms of like what is dance to them, because it could be different from mine. They have a unique story, they have a unique context, they have unique gifts. So the thing is, as a teacher, if I really do want to raise like good dance artists, posing them the question of, okay, what is dance for you? What kind of dances do you like? Okay, and then you try it out and then experiment, right? And I'll guide you into what I'm seeing and what I feel like could help you, but you're the one doula / birthing your own art. Like, I'll help you, like a good teacher should, but that task of birthing your art or birthing yourself is something that only you can do alone. Like, it's both your gift / your curse in a way, because it's like a task and a work that only you can do, right? That question of what is it for you is inevitably only answered by you. Now, I know I just gave a big dance metaphor, but shift that to cartomancy, to divination, to healing, right? What is spirit to you? How do you relate to spirit? What kind of practices are you best at? What is your background? How did that influence you being good at that? What do you look like in spirit? What kind of like elemental energies do you lean towards? What lessons have you learned, right? And then how does that feed into your specific medicine? How does that feed into your specific way of channeling? How do you activate other people by what you have known? And the earlier that I give you that question, the earlier that I point your eyes towards your inner like flame, being, intelligence, wisdom, spirit, I wouldn't say faster, but you'd be on the right track. Yeah. Because if you really take those questions seriously, you'd be investing into a font of wisdom and an intimate relating to the divine that no one can steal from you, that is totally original and authentic and totally, how do I say, like, it's a beautiful expression that best fits your situation, your incarnation, your manifestation. Yeah. So I would say that my way of teaching well, not necessarily teaching, but the way I conduct my tarot sessions are more shamanic. Like, I like a lot of elemental stuff. I like a lot of transformation stuff. I tend to talk like this, so I love metaphors, the Gemini in me is like that. But the thing is that I don't need everybody to read this way. I only share that I read this way for other people to have ingredients to how they relate to divinity. That, okay, I like how Maria is so into the elements, right? Or into nature metaphors. But maybe you could be someone who's very plain and direct, very practical and very mundane in their speech, right? So, or very even mathematical. So I just want to say that if it lights you up, if you feel the divine more strongly, so that could either be like a sense of deep calm or inspiration, or your body just feels like, oh, this is right. Like, if your trajectory into channeling, right, is feeling like that, I say go for it. And then the more time you spend with that, the more and faster you learn. Like, the deeper it is, the more like the stitching of it, it's going to be so good. Okay, so I really, 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 really want to emphasize that when you look up any books, when you look up any teachers, when you read anything, please filter it through your own wisdom, because your own wisdom is so vast, like the deep one, okay? Not the ego, I think I know everything one. It's the deep, I have a tuning fork to truth, and I can feel which one is true for me. Yeah? So that's how you get better in reading. And you can see how if everybody activates like their very specific medicine, there would be no real competition because everybody is holding a different vibration slash portal of healing to their clients and to their community. So everybody is needed, you know. There's no real there's no logical reason for jealousy because there's this deep self-acceptance and recognition of everybody's divine right. Yeah? So if you are into divination, cartomancy, channeling, I hope that you find these tips helpful and be a good reminder into how you go about really growing in these practices. And even if you get to phases where you even don't use this tool, so for example, I've had sessions where I barely even draw cards, that's fine as well. Yeah, because our currency is really spirit. So I hope, yeah. I would love to hear everybody's like ideas to like what they think they're not necessarily okay, what they feel like they're best at in terms of when they do channeling services, or even when you're just new to tarot reading, what kinds of decks are you really drawn to, or like what kinds of methods are you really drawn to. So I'd love to hear from you guys, so leave a comment, like, subscribe, and take care. See ya.